So the main components of Babur Garden are boundary walls with their specific details of architecture and material which is used, and steps and levels of the garden which were there and are 11 steps there, and main central channel, waterfalls, pavilion, Caravanserai, Queen's Palace, mosque, Babur grave, reservoirs. There were two. One was collection of surface water, and the other one was for the swimming, which were used, and the greenery part of it, which were the plants existing there. So as we see, the situation analysis says that the BAGH-E-BABUR at that time was the front line of civil war. Two fractions were in confrontation at that location, where the walls, Queen Palace, mosque, pavilion, Babur grave were mostly destroyed. The limited remaining parts of the walls and buildings had large cracks, which was not safe. And the trees were dried and gone, and people had cut it. And most parts of the Babur garden was full of ruins, ruined walls and building rubbles. Too much rubble there. And the great amount of unexploded ordnance were there because of the fighting, the confrontation of military warlords groups there. And unfortunately, nobody was looking after the garden at that time. Nobody was going to take care of it. So the other issue, which was the neighborhood, there was encroachments from the north and eastern side of Babur from the neighborhood. And the warlords, they had made houses there, and they were just going to come on by their own desire. And as we see here, the BAGH-E-BABUR photo is here in front of you. You are all familiar with it. So one of the swimming pool, which was at the right bottom corner side, which was removed just at the opposite direction outside the garden. There is a green part visible there, which is going to show the swimming pool is there. And the same, just other parts of it. Regarding implementation strategy of that, what we wanted to do to start, from where we should start, because the interim government was a new setup of the governing in the country. Everybody was unfamiliar with this style of management. So therefore, what we did, we tried to for creation of a coordination mechanism amongst the concerned government authorities, like Ministry of Information and Culture. The leadership of them were involved. Dr. Sabreen and his deputy, Yusuf Zai, said they were going to be with us. Historic Monuments Preservation Department of Ministry of Information and Culture, and the Kabul municipality, who is the owner of Kabul, the city. So their leadership was going to be with us, and the cultural department and greenery department of them, they were going to be with us. And the same Archaeology Department, Institute of Afghanistan, their representatives were with us. And as I said, that there were unexploded ordnance were there. So demining agency was kept involved in our coordination mechanism. And since the Babur garden was located in District 7, so their representatives, Maliks, were also the member of our coordination mechanism, and local community leaders at the neighborhood which we had. We could not avoid them, even they were warlords. We knew that they were useless, but by one way or the other, we are going to keep them with us. Otherwise, they are going to be a roadblock for our progress. So based on their interest, later on, The relevant institutions were kept involved in this coordination, like ICOMOS, that was a German agency, and US Embassy, Italian Embassy, Indian Embassy. They show their interest to be with us in many parts. And the other part of it, beside of this coordination for practical work, what we were going to do, what we were in need for. So the technical surveys conducted, that because the technicality of all components from architectural point of view and construction point of view were highly important, that nothing should be kept hidden and nothing should be changed. We should keep its main or actual format what it was. And then after that, technical surveys, designs were going to be produced for that, and there'll be of quantities and cost estimations for all components, and bidding documents were going to be developed, and quotations collection, assessed, qualified. Implementing partners were going to be shortlisted and interviewed, because we could not hire any company, because we didn't have such type of practice of restoration in Afghanistan in the past. So therefore, for selection of the qualified implementing partners, we were trying hard to do that. And also deminers were brought in the picture, that they should physically be present with their machines, for Geiger counters, what they had it. And cleaning and removal, after that, removal of the rubble, collection and removal was going to be started before all of these activities, because there was pile of rubble there. We could not go ahead one step before cleaning of that. So the other part of it was measurements for producing the drawings of all components of Babur Garden started. How? First, in our team, we hired, recruited qualified graduate architects who were going to do technical works. And at the same time, when I was teaching at that time, management for the final year students of engineering, so I requested the third year and fourth year of architectural students that they should be there with us after their classes for practical work. So therefore, thanks to them, they accepted at that time. The purposes which we had behind was to have an opportunity of practical tasks for them. They should be practically involved in it, to be used to part-time work, which was a new practice in our student life, which we don't have it there, unfortunately, which is a step towards self-sustainability in their life. And just a type of stipend or pocket money was going to be given to them. Also, that was going to be a support to them at that situation of after war, for students, which was highly needed. And for the purpose of architectural department was what we can say supported. For example, 50 drawing tables were provided at the same time, and many other supports, just to keep them active and productive. And international restorers, architects were hired for the purpose. One of the international architects, restorer, who had restored Humayun tomb in New Delhi, Ratish Nanda, we recruited him. He was there. And the same for archaeological component of the main streams or channels or waterfalls. We recruited archaeologists with their full equipped system from Germany. They were there, and they went with their archaeological surveys and excavations, and finally they found that the main channels and waterfalls were twice restored. Once during King Abdurrahman Khan, and then during King Nader Khan. So based on too many technical discussions, it was decided that we should go with the last restoration, which was going to be the best way to keep it in a way which it was the latest before our restoration. And the same horticulture specialists were recruited to assess the Babur Gardens trees which to be replanted. That should be which was the main component of the greenery of Babur Garden from environmental perspective. So based on technical reports of horticulture specialists and needed trees, nursery was started at the northwest corner of Babur Garden inside through the Greenery Department of Kabul Municipality. Here we had a few purposes. One, just to go for capacity building of the Greenery Department of Kabul Municipality with the new setup of the interim administration, and also have a product of nursery for our garden, for the future plantation in the garden, and also job opportunity for few people there. And based on international restorers reports, the channels, as I mentioned, they were also restored. So part of that, this progress was going on, the restoration. And at this continuously, the bi-weekly and sometimes weekly and sometimes after a month, we are going to have our regular coordination meetings at the coordination at the Babur Garden there. Even most of the time, Minister of Culture, Dr. Ibrahim was going to be there. His deputy was going to be there. Heads of their cultural departments and all of them, they were going to be with us with their inputs and following the progress. And also, a technical survey team was established to measure the and calculate the amount of gravel. We say that, but just to find our amount of volume of work and close supervision of the demining people who were already there and the archaeology people, because when the demining people helped our staff there, there was a big pile of unexploded ordnance found there, which was really a disaster. And at the same time, there was too much other issues which were tackled luckily by them. And regarding funding of Babur restoration, Babur Garden restoration, initially, the Office for Culture had a budget for it and started the activities. At the same time, many other institutions show their interest to contribute. When they saw physical work started, and due to the value of the Babur Garden as a cultural heritage, so many other institutions also show their interest, like International Council on Monuments and Sites, which is called, abbreviation is ICOMOS. That's a German agency. They contributed in restoration financially. US Embassy contributed in funding of pavilion, which we were calling that restaurant, And that project was run by our friend, senior architect, Rahimjan Khorram, and he was manager for that. And also there were some other projects where the other donors were interested to go for such. So then the restoration took place in different stages, and the material issue was one of the points. For the fountains and the water channels, there are the marbles which were needed. So at that time, with the consultation and advice of the international restorer, we imported that specific marble which was used in Humayun tomb from India for that water channels and waterfalls, and the same for the mosque. The mosque roof is also the flat pieces, long pieces of marble, which is used as roofing stuff there. These were the main parts of it. And another interesting point is that, which was found after cleaning, so the water channel, which was used for irrigation of Babur Garden, that was a canal which was brought from Khairabad on that side of the shore area. That was gone through the Queen's Palace and going to be passing Babur Garden, which was one of the main points for irrigation. And the same, we built a water reservoir outside the Babur Garden at the east side, mountainous part, which was going to be filled with water supply, city water supply scheme, which was used by neighborhood and also for irrigation. That's another part of it. And the other component at this side was the reservoir, which was collecting the surface water from the upper side of the garden. It was channelized to the garden, which was going to be collected in that water reservoir, which still exists at the north side of the mosque there in the garden. And the same, another activity which unfortunately did not work, that was the neighborhood at the north side of the garden, where there was a mosque and few houses which were almost attached with the garden. We tried to convince those warlords, and we wanted to facilitate it in a way that should be a passage where the cars should also pass that area for their emergency needs. From one side, it was going to help the neighborhood. From other side, the garden was going to be protected from encroachments which they had. But unfortunately, that did not work, and that was one of the issues. And regarding the tomb of Babur, based on the documents which were studied and read, so therefore there was not advisable to have the cover on the grave of Babur. So therefore it was rebuilt in the way which it was. So that was, I think, all the, as you know that I don't have more technical points with me, more in facts and figures about this extra than this. So therefore, what I had. So that's all. Thanks for your patience. If there is any question in this regard, you're welcome.